about 2 weeks out from the DLC that will be coming for Dead Island 2. And I have noticed at least one or two videos out there of people that are trying to do content stating the same tired points of view that this game is not good, it's not interesting, it's not fun to play, it's boring, it's repetitive. But honestly, and I do watch these videos, and I try to keep an open mind to try to see what people are saying about the game, but almost all of their arguments come down to one fundamental fact. Dead Island 2 is a video game that does video game stuff. It's just bad when Dead Island 2 does it, right? And that is essentially what most of their arguments are. Okay. Now, what do I mean about when I say Dead Island 2 is a video game that does video game stuff? And most of the video game stuff that it does is trying to get the player to play a video game. It's a very bare bones concept. It is the foundation of this game. It's a zombie game, I think, is what the biggest problem is, right? Everybody tries to say a lot of things about this game, some like the negative stuff. And really, in all honesty, the only thing Dead Island 2 is guilty of is just being like another zombie game. That's it. Because all their other arguments are just they're just whining about Dead Island 2 being a video game that does video game stuff. Classic example. One of the like most, if not everybody, says, "Oh well, the gameplay is repetitive." It gets super repetitive after a while. It's uninspiring. It's not nearly as repetitive as the first game. There are actually a lot of different ways that you can kill zombies for fun in this game. Using the environment, using explosives, using different melee weapons, using different firearms with different mods on them. Because it's a zombie game that wants you to have fun killing zombies. Because killing zombies is what you're supposed to be doing in this game, right? But as far as the complaints about, like, even aside from that point, if you wanted to say it's really repetitive in terms of you go here, you kill these zombies, mission complete. Go there, kill these zombies, mission complete. It's all so frickin' repetitive. Okay. All right, that's a fair statement. That doesn't mean it's a bad idea. I mean, I look at probably one of the most popular game franchises that I know of, Call of Duty. What are you doing in Call of Duty? You go from one game to the next game to the next game to the next game to the next game. What are you doing in those games? Are you not literally doing the same thing over and over and over again in that? I mean, not we're not talking about like rewards and different environments. It's a first person shooter. You're going in there, you shoot the enemies, throw a grenade once in a while, mission complete. You go in there, you kill a bunch of enemies, throw a grenade once in a while, mission complete. You go in there, you kill a bunch of enemies, throw a grenade once in a while, mission complete. Go in there. Do I need to keep going, right? No, I don't. I don't think I do. But I mean, that's a lot of video games. They find their they find what kind of rhythm they want the player to get into in terms of go here, take the weapons you want to, do the things you want to do, clear the enemies out, complete the objective, and then leave. That is so many video games on this planet. A lot of videos, a lot of video games. I don't, I mean, yeah. And what about players that will finish a game and then jump back into the game and do it all over again, over and over and over again? That is the player themselves actually engaging in repetitive gameplay because they enjoyed it so much. So again, repetitive gameplay or repetitive combat, that Dead Island 2 is a video game that is doing video game things. It works in a lot of other franchises, but it's not supposed to work here. I'm not really sure about that one. So, I mean, a lot of video games do that, and a lot of players of their own volition will jump back into a game and play it over and over again. I mean, I can't imagine playing a video game I really love and only playing it just once. I have probably like Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines. I mean, I could go down the list playing some games over and over again just because I wanted to get back into that repetitive gameplay, and I'm pretty sure that's the average gamer. I'm not special there. Plenty of people play their favorite games over and over again because they enjoy the repetitive gameplay loop that they get put in when they're playing that game. I mean, if that was an argument against repetitive gameplay, then you wouldn't see so many people losing their shit when a game all of a sudden takes away the weapons they're used to, takes away the rules of engagement they're used to, and forces them to play the game a different way. Some games do that, like they'll switch gears. Everything that the game has taught you how to play the game up to that point, they take away all of that, and then they throw you into an alternative situation where they take your stuff away. And those moments in the games are usually very jarring, and very few people have anything positive to say about those moments. So they want to hurry up and get back into the repetitive gameplay that they have gotten used to and they have gotten good at, right? So repetitive gameplay is not a mark against this game. The next thing, dated gameplay. Oh, it's outdated. It feels so dated. It feels like it's a 19 like it's a 2014 game finally released. That's also not a mark against this game. If you want to feel dated gameplay, okay, put in about 100 to 200 hours in Dead Island 2 and then go back and try play Dead Island 1. You'll notice a huge change in gameplay. It doesn't feel nearly as good as Dead Island 2. Dead Island 2's combat, they were very careful in how they paid attention to the combat in this game because a good bulk of it's going to be melee and they wanted it to be satisfying. Not to say the original game wasn't satisfying, it is, but you could see the care and attention that went into taking the experience and cranking it up to 10. And dated, saying a game is dated, I don't really know what to do with that because I remember spending hundreds of hours playing San Andreas, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and then little mama finally talked me into playing Grand Theft Auto 5. And she was really impressed at how well I could handle a car in that game. Uh, and that's because nothing felt different. Like, and it had been years since I touched a Grand Theft Auto game, but I had spent so much time playing San Andreas. The shooting and driving a car in that game did not feel different. I mean, think about the leap in time between San Andreas and Grand Theft Auto 5. My instincts kicked in and I knew exactly what to do because it's in terms of playing the game and shooting and driving cars, it didn't feel any different than San Andreas. Okay. You'll see sometimes developers go out of their way to create games that nostalgia bait, right? And you'll get into them like Evil Within, um, one Resident Evil game to the next. Well, not the first couple. The first couple were really awkward with the camera stuff, but eventually they started to iron out like how they wanted the Resident Evil games to feel. Resident Evil 4 really shifting the whole feeling, and it became the way to do it, right? So much so that you see the over-the-shoulder camera being used in all kinds of games after Resident Evil 4. Um, and then it became the thing. Over the shoulder, pistol pointed, you got your crosshair, on the screen. It's been done over and over and over to death. It's a classic way of playing a game like that, right? It's a classic game. But you could argue that Grand Theft Auto and the Resident Evil games are dated. If dated gameplay was an argument against a video game, then you wouldn't have seen so many people buying the reboot of Resident Evil 4, which, of course, it might have been smoothed out a little bit. I didn't get a chance to play it myself, but I could tell from some of the gameplay the experience was updated, but they stayed true to the classic feel of the game. And Dead Island 2 did that from Dead Island 1. It stayed true to the classic feel of the game. So calling it outdated only it seems like that term gets used when someone doesn't want to like a game. They're okay with classic mechanics as long as it's in the game they like, right? So I fail to see how that's an argument. It's an argument when they want it to be an argument. I mean, Evil Within 2, off the top of my head, the way it handled its gameplay stayed true to the inspiration, the original inspiration of Resident Evil 4. When Dead Space came out originally, it stayed true to Resident Evil 4, like many aspects of that game. And when the Dead Space remake came out, it stayed true to what Dead Space stayed true to. Again, you could call that dated, but it's only dated when you're critiquing a game you don't want to like, right? It's fine when it's in, oh, this is a return to classic blah blah blah, right? Yeah, I see how that works. Yeah. Okay. And then finally there's another thing, the story. They talk about how the story, oh, it leaves you on this classic tried, tired old cliffhanger crap. When games leave you, like, I can understand from Dan Buster's perspective, like, why they would do that. They have a direction they want to take the game, and they want to sketch out the bare bones of this world that they're creating off of the back of Dead Island. But they don't want to show all their cards right away. They don't want to dump the entire story in your lap all at once. They want room to grow into this experience. They want to add more detail. They want to tell you more about the story as you progress through it. Again, I hate to say it, but go back to Dead Space, the original Dead Space game. It didn't dump everything in your lap all at once. The end of that story, the original Dead Space, left you with more questions than answers. It's totally fine when a game does that. It's pretty clear that Dead Island 2 wants to take their story into the Lovecraftian universe. And that tells me they're signaling to us that they want to tell a bigger story. And they really want to flesh it out, but they're not going to do it right away. They want to keep you hanging on. They want you excited for the next installment. Games and movies share a lot of DNA in the way they tell their stories. Okay, if you've ever sat down and watched Lord of the Rings over and over and over again, okay, you could call that repetitive behavior, which is totally fine in movies, right, that you really like. It's also totally fine in video games that you really like, but when a game has a repetitive loop within it, you can't critique that and say, well, that's a mark against the game, if you yourself are in the habit of doing that with things you really enjoy. Now, if it's repetitive and it's in a game you don't like, then I guess it's an argument. Again, trying not to like the game, not liking the game, and then complaining about these things in the game that are prevalent throughout the gaming world, prevalent throughout the cinema culture, movies and stuff. it's hard for me to sit back and take these points, these critiques, and say, oh, well, that's a point, you know. And I'll say that against any content creator that wants to sit and take a dig at this game. It has a big story to tell you, but it doesn't want to tell you everything all at once. It wants to keep you hanging on, like from one episode to the next episode to the next episode of your favorite TV show. That's not an argument against the game. There's also people still trying to compare this game to Dying Light 2. This is a zombie game with some action in it. Dying Light 2 is an action game with some zombies in it. It's an action game because you can see, like, the main thing about Dying Light 2 is the parkour system. That has, pardon my French, that has fuck all to do with zombies. I'm sorry, but it's true. It's an action game. But most importantly, Dead Island 2 is a standalone experience. Dying Light 2 is a live service game pretending to be a standalone game. It's not a standalone game. And as hard as they tried, was it like 2 or 3 days ago, I checked the Steam player count. Of course, Steam is the biggest gaming ecosystem in the world. And I think there was like 1,642 players playing Dying Light 2. You can't really gauge Dead Island 2 on PC because it is an Epic exclusive. That's the one thing I almost never mention about this game, that it's an Epic exclusive. I do not condone exclusive games. I would say it was the wrong idea to make Dead Island 2 an exclusive for Epic because this is a very niche game and I don't recommend it for everyone. But it needed to be on as many platforms as possible in order to reach a wide enough audience, and it just couldn't do that on PC. But on the other hand, if I'm not mistaken, if I am, correct me in the comments section, but if I'm not mistaken, Epic sent people into this project. They put hands on deck to go there and help Dambuster, give them the resources they needed and the man hours they needed to fully realize their reimagining of Dead Island. So they kind of had a foot in that door. They took a proactive role in helping Dambuster get this game ready the way they wanted it. So I'm not surprised that Epic wanted this to be an exclusive. If you're going to put resources into a game, I could see you wanting a little favoritism for that. It's the name of the game. I do not condone exclusives. All right. But I do on occasion get people leaving comments and they do get erased. All right. I'm not going to sit there when you like call a game trash because it's an Epic exclusive. If it's trash because you played it and you wanted to like it, but you couldn't for various reasons, and you have an opinion, that's different. Like you have an opinion about a game you played, you wanted to like it, but you just couldn't for whatever reasons. Hey, it's cool. Some people don't like this game because of the gore system. I get that. Okay, I don't even let my kid watch me play this game. All right, he's 16. I would not let him play this game, and I certainly wouldn't let him watch me play this game. It is very gory. Sometimes the gore is like fourth wall breaking, right? So I do realize there's certain things about this game that don't appeal to everyone, and I don't recommend it to everyone. But to sit there and trash a game because it's an Epic Store exclusive, that is not... I don't even have a horse in that race. And if you're just trashing on the game because you're mad because it's an Epic exclusive, Epic put man hours into this game. Again, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section, but from the credits, it seems like Epic did take an active role in the creation of this game or getting it out the door. So they do have an investment in this game, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of like, I I I could see if Sony puts resources into a game and it's part of their, it's an exclusive for their console. I get that. They actually they didn't just buy the right to make it an exclusive. They put time and effort into going over there and helping those folks out. It's kind of hard to argue against that if you put time and effort into a game, right? Personally. So, yeah, there's all that. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to make a counter video because I am starting to see some anti-Dead Island 2 videos coming out, and I think some of these videos are riding the wave of traction, like audience attention, because the new DLC is coming out, and people who still don't want to like the game want to remind people why they don't like the game, complaining about Dead Island 2 simply because it's a video game that does video game stuff like the games you like to play. These are not arguments, period. So anyway, yeah, that was just my 2 cents. I wanted to retread some old ground in terms of Dead Island 2. uh I'm sorry, I'm still gonna say it right now, Dead Island 2 is still my game of the year for this year. It still is. Why? I don't really know. It just is. I love it. I want to see it get better. I want to see some of the issues with it get fixed, because there is a lot of love and care that was put in this game. It's obvious to anyone with half a brain. And yeah, I totally, totally love this game. And so, yeah, this is just me countering some of the old, very tired old arguments against this game. There's nothing wrong with Dead Island 2. It is its own game. It's a zombie-ass zombie game. It's a video game that does video game things. And if it's guilty of doing that, then so is every other game that's ever come out. All right. So there you go. There's my 2 cents. Anyway, you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, and I will catch you on the flip side.